so the government don't need.
It's a very good morning to the Gelding, Sandown Hillside again, and a lovely day for it. And group racing returns in a big way.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, Sandown. Group 1 racing returns. The CF4 Stakes returns. The 2-year-olds jump out in the Preludes. A couple of Group 2s for the sprinters, and also some of the other horses, 3-year-olds. Good meeting. Normally held at Caulfield, Professor, but due to works going on, it's back at Sandown, which I think is standing up quite well as a track. And
amazing, isn't it? In the sand belt.
Put to bed all these rumours about let's get rid of Sandown. We don't need Sandown.
Exactly, Gelding.
Fair racing, horses getting the chances. The All Stakes goes back there, Group 1 racing, open spaces. So I think it just proves to show that maybe the Melbourne Racing Club should move on from getting this. We need to get rid of Sandown Caper.
I'm with you, Gelding. Anyway, 9 races on the program today. The first at 12:35. The feature race, as you said, Gelding, the Group 1, Race 7, CF4 Stakes, a weight for age race over 1,400 metres. The tracks are good for Gelding. The rail's out 10 metres, and at Sandown, that doesn't really matter because you've got, as you said, there's plenty of room on that track. What are your 2 best bets for today's meeting?
Well, Professor, going early in Race 3, I like a lot today. There's some good horses returning at very good odds, Professor. But I was listening to James Cumming talk about his 2-year-olds, and he said his horse for the Blue Diamond is racing today. Race 3, number 1, Barber. Been very impressive, Professor. It's had 2 starts for 2 wins. Those being up in Sydney and Randwick and Rose Hill. I'm a fan of the Blue Army. When they train them, they prepare them brilliantly. They're well done. But they have so many horses they can choose from, so they select them for the right races. And of course, when you have a trainer like James Cummings coming out and saying, "This is my 2-year-old for this race," that's enough for me, Professor. So my first bet is Race 3, number 1, the undefeated Barber, to be trained by Cummings for the Blue Army and to be ridden by Victorian's leading jockey in Jamie Carr, Professor. So all that together, that will do me well. Again, a lot of good horses in there, Professor. So I might let that slide, the others, and we'll go with that. I also like Race 4, number 1 in the other 2-year-old race, Professor, Charm Stone, but I decided to leave that one out of our bets. So just for the listeners, if they're looking for something, I think it could be a good day for the ones, Professor. I've then gone to the All Stakes. You've got to have a bet in the main race, Professor. I've gone number 1. I'm Thunderstruck. Mick Price, Jamie Carr. They stretched this horse out, to run second in the Cox Plate, Professor. So, that's pretty good form. And horses with good form in Group 1 races traditionally sprint fairly well first up. And I do notice first up, I'm Thunderstruck has had 4 starts for 2 wins and a second, Professor. So, a horse that can run second in probably one of the best races in Australasia in the Cox Plate, that there was a bit of a doubt over running the 2000, I think can bounce back and win first up over 1400, Professor. So, look, I'm worried in this All Stakes, of course, being a Group 1 race. You've got some very good horses. You can get Mr. Brightside first up after running fifth in the Cox Plate, around about the 10 to 1. But I think that'll be a danger. And of course, there's,
well,
bit of a
the bottom weight in that race has claims as well, Gelding.
The ones that have had claims of number 3, Two Baloo. You've got Gentleman Roy. We've been on, Professor, going up in class. As I said, I'm worried about Mr. Brightside, a class horse. And then you have the other Mick Price runner, Jacquino, which we were on last start, Professor, as our bet of the day to get up a Professor's parlay. So, look, worried about a lot, but I think my two bets will be race 3, number 1, Barber, into race 7, number 1, I'm Thunderstruck. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, race 6, the Rubiton Stakes, the Group 2 for set weights and penalties over 1,100 metres. I can't go past in that race, Gelding, horse number 6, Chain of Lightning, coming out of barrier 2. It's had a terrific career so far, 8 starts for 6 wins and a placing. So 75% win rate, 88% place rate. I'll tell you the things I like. Count these off, Gelding.
Tick them. Get the pen out.
Yeah, get the pen out and tick these things. Car's riding it. Moody's training it.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah,
that's enough for me.
Okay. Secondly, it's won a Group 2 and won a Group 3.
Tick,
Thirdly, first up, it's 2 from 2.
Tick, tick.
4, Oliver's on Uncommon James, who's probably the threat. And 5, very good in its jump outs. It's won them both. 6, it's won over the distance. So if I look at those 6 things, Gelding, it's very hard to go past that horse. And winning form's good form. Jamie Carr's in the saddle. She's in career form at the moment. 20% win rate over the last 50. Over her entire career at 17%. So she's up over the last 50. Peter Moody the same. He's at 20%. And as you know me, Gelding, I like to go for that winning form. I think it's always good form. So Chain of Lightning, too hard to go past. And my second choice, Gelding, in race 8, the Carline Cup, Group 3, another one with set weights and penalties over 1,600 metres this time. And I can't go past in this one, horse 12, Pounding, Gelding, coming out of barrier 14. That's the only thing I don't like about this horse, Gelding, coming out of barrier 14. It's had 22 starts for 6 wins and 7 placings, although its good form's been over the last few races. What do I like? Number 1, Car Moody again. Number 2, 1 over the distance. Number 3, won its both prior starts. Number 4, it beat its threat today, Corner Pocket, last start out over the same distance. So the weights
Professor.
The weights are about the same. So for me today, Gelding, it's race 6, horse 6, Chain of Lightning, and race 8, horse 12, Pounding.
And Professor, just on that, what odds could you get Pounding?
Pounding, I got 6 to 1, Gelding.
Oh, it's a fantastic bet, Professor.
And Chain of Lightning, I got 5 to 1.
Oh, fantastic each way betting.
Oh, by the way, Pounding at the moment fixed $2.20 to place.
I like them, Professor. Very, very good.
Well,
we need a good day.
Gelding, even if it gets up for the place, it's better. It's just as good as a win.
All right. You didn't like one of my old favourites in Smoking Romans?
The top weight, Gelding? No, I didn't like it at the top weight. I think it might be carrying a bit too much weight today.
All right. Well, I can only
you can get good odds on Smoking Romans, though, Gelding.
Well, yeah, I might just have a lazy each way bet on it, Professor. But yeah, look, hopefully we need a good day today. So good horses. It seems a common factor today, Professor.
Yeah, good horses, good jockeys, good trainers.
Well, good jockey. isn't it? It's not jockeys.
No, it's good jockey.
All four, Jamie Carr. So
Yeah, so she's got to ride all four today to win.
let's hope she's in a good mood. She rode well last night, so let's hope that continues, and we can go on from there, and hopefully she has a very good day.
Well, confidence is a big thing, Gelding.
All right, confidence. Yes, Professor. There's no point having a punt if you're not confident.
Exactly right, Gelding. Exactly
Yep.
right. All right, the Professor's Parlay, which ran aground when the Phoenix Suns beat the Celtics last week.
Oh,
We got 2 out of 3, Gelding.
we've done the hard bit, Professor.
Well, yeah, but Detonator Jack, you've got to admit, third, very disappointing.
Well, Professor, I think I'm off the bubble now. Heard very interesting thing, and you always got to be prepared to learn in racing. I thought it was a horse that could have gone on, and as you said, I was very confident to back it in a Caulfield Cup. But again, listening to the trainer David Eustace being interviewed and then going back and watching the race, he says he doesn't believe the horse stays. He thinks it's a mile that sits at the back and comes with a flash, and he just, I think you'll find now that it may even have a spell, or it may be coming back to races over a mile rather than being stretched out as a stayer, Professor. So we'll have to look for a new one for the Caulfield Cup next year.
I was just about to say, Gelding, so you're off it for the Caulfield Cup.
Yep, Professor. We'll be backing it again, though.
Oh, yeah,
So
but back to the drawing board.
We'll be backing it no further than a mile, Professor.
Always good to listen to what the trainers have to say, Gelding.
Oh, well, you just pick up a bit of insight, and they're with the horse most days. So, and if he had thoughts about it just being maybe questionable over that thing, that's why they're the leading trainers, Professor.
Yeah.
They
right,
could
Gelding.
get a horse and look back. Yeah.
Yep. All right, Gelding. Well, today's parlay. We're going to Rose Hill or Randwick?
Oh, look, Professor, I like Sydney as the bet of the day. As I said, a wrap for the excuse me, a wrap for the Blue Army, Professor. And what's wrong with backing Australia's best racehorse in the parlay? So, look, I'm all over Animo, race 8, number 1, and think it's a bet of the day. And the second best bet of the day is also a Blue Army horse. Race 7, number 1, In Secret, Professor. And as I said to you off air, I'll be having a little parlay win bet on both of them. So, bet responsibly, but if you get $1.80 each of them, you could turn 100 into 325, Professor.
Well, sound reasoning, Gelding. So the agreed bet of the day at Randwick is race 8, horse 1, Animo. And let's parlay that into, we're going to one of your favourite leagues, Gelding, the Premier League. And tell us what you think about the soccer, Gelding.
Well, Professor, when there's no scoring like that, the side, as could happen last week, they can have 70% of the play. And if the opposition puts players behind the ball, Professor, it makes it almost impossible for them to score. And so you can go out in soccer with the attitude of not to win the game, but to save the game and draw it, or maybe hope for a fluke goal. And that's probably what I worry about with soccer, Professor, that, one or two, just a bit of a fluke here, a bit of a fluke there, some great saves, some people behind the ball, and all of a sudden you're down 1-0, and you've lost the Professor's parlay.
Well, Gelding, it looks better than the NBA, let me tell you that. I can't wait for the rugby league to come back. Yeah,
well, you've been sensational in the National Football League, Professor. The American Gridiron, with the Super Bowl tomorrow, Monday, which I presume we'll talk about in Sports Fans.
Yes.
so we won't steal any of that thunder. But your picking in that NFL had been sensational, Professor. So, and you were fairly spot on with the rugby last year. So, only a couple of weeks, and we'll get your Ralph's thoughts on the rugby.
Yeah, we can get out of the Premier League. All right, Gelding. So what are we going to parlay Animo with? We're going to parlay that horse with Arsenal to beat Brentford. Arsenal playing at home. They've only been beaten twice for the season, Gelding. Once was last week at Everton, where they lost 1-0 to the second bottom side, and they were the team that had 70% possession. Everton only had 30% of it, but there you go.
Yeah.
A plus 28 goal difference, Gelding, so they do have the ability to get the ball in the old onion bag, as they say.
Yes.
That's one of Fioretti's favourite sayings, getting the ball in the onion bag. So Brentford 7th, they've only got a goal difference of 7. So I'm pretty hot on Arsenal at $1.47. And then let's parlay that into Newcastle, 4th at the moment in the Premier League. Sorry, Gelding?
That's good odds, $1.47, isn't it?
Yeah, well, this one's better. Newcastle away to beat Bournemouth. Newcastle 4th with a plus 22 goal difference. Bournemouth 19th, which is second last. They've got the worst goal difference in the Premier League at minus 24, Gelding, so they get scored against a lot. They've only won 4 games for the season. $1.55 you can get for Newcastle, Gelding. So when we look at when we punch those odds in, the win parlay bet is 4-1. The place parlay bet is 3-2.
Oh, well done, Professor. I like it. I like it. May the very successful parlay continues, Professor.
Exactly, Gelding. So you already mentioned Sports Fan Radio back tomorrow at midday with all the usual suspects.
All right.
And plenty to talk about, Gelding, including, as you said, the NFL Super Bowl.
Will we be getting Dan on board?
Unfortunately, he's got a pre-existing commitment as commissioner of the Big West Conference. One of the few problems with him getting that job, Gelding, is he's often quite busy at the time we go to air on a Sunday.
Yeah, but has he sent away a tip for you, Professor?
No, I'll ask him today, and I'll include that in the show tomorrow.
Lovely. And will you have anyone in the family dressed up in Kansas City red tomorrow on Monday?
Well, that could be, Gelding. We can discuss that tomorrow.
Beautiful.
All right, Gelding. Well, hopefully it'll be great racing today at Sandown. Are you going out there to sample some of the fine fare?
No, Professor. As you well know, the Geldings put a bit of a boycott on the Melbourne Racing Club during these big events. Just, I don't mind being ripped off, but I think they were just ripping us off a little bit too far. Like when you're paying $180 for a buffet luncheon at the races, and paying 4 times the price for wine that you've got to go and get yourself. Fairly ordinary. I have had a couple of emails from the Melbourne Racing Club.
Oh, so have I. Did you get some too, Gelding, this week?
Yeah, saying I haven't brought tickets this year for All Stakes Day. So I quickly replied that.
Did they ask you whether you would please come and have lunch there today?
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
They asked me too.
Yeah, and I just thought no value for me. So I'll be watching them from home, Professor. And, of course, at about 3 o'clock, turning over for day 3 of the test over in India.
Well, so Australia have got themselves a big hole to dig themselves out of.
Well, they're in the hole. They've got to climb out of it, Professor.
Exactly right, Gelding.
And maybe some New South Wales players might have to lift their game.
Maybe, Gelding. All right, Gelding. Until next Saturday, and that's racing.